Hello again, everyone. Okay, this tutorial, welcome back to another tutorial of the Super Mario RPG Randomizer series. This tutorial is about installing the custom hacked operating systems on your Wii so that you can inject your randomized ROM into the WAD file for the Virtual Console version of Super Mario RPG. And so this will let you run your randomized ROM as if it was an actual virtual console game. And this is a better option than playing it on even on the RetroArch emulator on the Wii, on the homebrew channel, like we did in the previous video in part 3A. This is a better option than that because the virtual console emulation is more stable, has less overhead. It doesn't have the frame rate drops that the RetroArch one does. It also doesn't have the audio delay built into it that the RetroArch one does. Even though we went over that step of changing the audio delay down to the lowest, it will go at 8 milliseconds. So it's very close. But the Virtual Console is ultimately superior, and if you want the absolute best experience, that's the way to go. It also looks exactly like the SNES. It's designed to look exactly like that. So this is the most authentic experience you can get. So the first thing that you need to do in order to do WAD injection, regardless of which language you're playing, we need to install custom hacked operating system files for the Wii homebrew stuff. We have the homebrew channel installed. We can run homebrew apps like the RetroArch emulator. And the WAD managing program that we're going to use to actually load and install the WAD file, once we get our ROM into the WAD file successfully, we actually need to install it so that it shows up as a channel on your Wii menu. And the program we're going to be using to do that is a homebrew program, but it needs the support of these custom hacked operating systems in order to do its thing. In order to actually sign the WAD file so that it's specific to your Wii system and install it. So that's what this video is going to do. You only have to do this once. This is kind of a esoteric step with a lot of weird looking numbers that are going to seem a little strange if you don't fully understand, what's going on, if you're not really into the Wii homebrew scene or anything. But if you just follow these instructions, you only have to do this once, and then you never have to do it again. So the first step we need to do is if your Wii is not connected to the internet, if you can't get it on Wi-Fi, then you have to do this first optional step here of downloading the custom iOS files. I would recommend that you really just do this anyway because I had a problem where even though I had Wi-Fi on my Wii, it still wouldn't perform an internet installation successfully. It just couldn't download it during the OS installer part. I don't know why. I was never able to figure it out. So the way that I got around that was just doing this download step so that it loaded the iOS files from the SD card instead of trying to download them from the internet. So you don't need an internet connection at all for this. So the first thing you need to do is download the NUS downloader program. And the site where this is all taken from here is this complete soft mod guide here, which there'll be a link in the description and on the wiki page as well. So it will have a link to the NUS downloader program, which is here on the wiki as well. So you want to download this. You go to this program here. You download the NUS downloader here. This is the current version of it. And then you'll save that and unzip it. I've already got it downloaded, so I'm not going to save it and unzip it. You save it and unzip it any folder you want here. Here's my folder where I've got NUS downloader v19. Then you open up the NUS downloader program here, version 1.9. You obviously need to be connected to the internet on your PC to do this because we're going to download some files. Okay, what we're going to do here in this program is we're going to go down and we're going to check pack WAD. Make sure this is checked. This will take the OS files that you download and pack them into a WAD file that you can then use to install it on your Wii. Then we're going to go up to the database thing at the top here, this database part. This is where we're going to find our iOS version, the versions of the operating system we're going to install. So we're going to install 2 based on the guide on this soft mod site. And these 2 I think we really only need the first one, but the second one is useful for running backups and things like that. So we may as well just install both of them. This is the most common setup according to the softmod guide that works for 99% of backups and homebrew and anything that you want to do on your Wii. So you go up here to this button that says database. Click on that. You go down to a whole bunch of stuff here you can download. Go to iOS. We're going to go down to iOS 56. This one that says iOS 56 here in the list. This is the one we want. You may have seen in previous instructions about installing iOS 36 or iOS 236 before doing all of this. That's an older method of installing this. This is a current method that is a little simpler and easier. You don't have to worry about that other stuff. So go down to iOS 56 here, and we want version 5661, which is the second from the bottom here. So it's not the last one here. 5661. Click on that. So then now it shows in pack WAD here. It's going to show the WAD file we're going to make. So we hit start NUS download, and it downloads everything and packs it and finishes. Then we go back to database here, go to iOS again, go to iOS 57 this time. For this one, we want version 5918, which is also the second from the end here. On that, and then again, hit start NUS download. We're going to get iOS 57 5918.wad. Hit start NUS download. It'll download it, decrypt everything, pack it into a WAD file, and you're good. So now you're done with this program now. So now you go back to the folder where you've unzipped this thing here. So inside this folder, there's now, this already existed for me because I did this already before, but there will now be this folder in here called titles in the folder where you unzip the NUS downloader program. So inside titles here, there's two folders you see here, the one 38 and 39 here. So these correspond to the two things that we just downloaded, right? If you go in here, 5661, and then you see down here there's iOS 5664 version 5661.wad. So all this other stuff in here is the actual raw files that it downloaded, and this WAD file that we saw that's why we checked the pack WAD checkbox there. It packaged it all into this WAD file here. That was the first one we downloaded, and then 339 5918 down here, iOS 57 5918 .wad. This is the second one that we downloaded. So what we're going to do is we're going to take both of these files and copy them and paste them into the root of your SD card. My SD card is my E drive here. Back to where best downloader is, titles 958, and copy this WAD file to the root of my SD card. So now I have the two files the WAD files we just got from the NUS downloader. So now we can do the offline installation. We don't need to worry about the internet install, which, like I said, it didn't work for me. Not sure why. So the next thing we need to do is we need to download the installer program for the custom iOSs here. This is called the D2X Cios Installer, and there's a link here on the wiki and also on that site that I just mentioned. So again, I've already got this downloaded. So you download that, you unzip it somewhere. I've got D2X COS Installer here. So when you unzip D2X COS Installer Wii here, inside the zip file, it will have an apps folder, and then in here we have the D2X COS CIOS installer folder, and this is the actual program here. So this apps folder, it might look familiar because we have an apps folder in the root of our SD card as well. That's exactly what this corresponds to. So if you just copy this apps folder to the root of your SD card and then hit merge, since we already have an apps folder there because we did the homebrew channel installation previously, so we need to merge those two folders so that there's just one apps folder. Alternatively, you can just go into apps and you can just copy the D2X CIOS installer folder and then go into your SD card, go into apps, and paste it in here. And now it's in here, along with RetroArch, because we had the RetroArch emulator for the previous videos. That's why we already have an apps folder here. So now that we've got that downloaded, now we're ready to go, basically. So now we want to check this and go back to our Wii. Do. That was a little loud there. My computer down a little bit loud. Sorry about that. Right. So we've ejected that. Okay. We ejected that. I'm going to switch back now. Wii. Here we go. Okay. So now we put our SD card back in the Wii. There we go. Okay. Yeah. Alright, so we put the SD card back in the Wii. And now we start up the homebrew channel. Since that's what we're going to be using to install the custom iOS stuff. And here we are. Now we have, in addition to RetroArch from the previous video, the D2X Cios Installer. So we select this, hit load, loads it up, and we get a nice little welcome screen. Once we get the welcome screen here, you can read this this welcome screen here, and just hit any button, hit A, get to the main menu. All right, now we're in the main menu for the iOS installer. So a whole bunch of weird-looking numbers and terms and things that you might not have any idea what they mean. Don't worry, we're going to walk through this. It'll be fine. So we're going to do 2 Cios installs here. So the first one, we're on the first option here. Select Cios version here. We want to use the D-pad, left and right, to change the version that we're going to install here. So see, there's a bunch of different versions available here, right? So we have the ones we're interested in here is D2X version 10, beta 53, in this case beta 53 alt, that's the current version, and then there's also beta 52. So we're going to be using both of these. So we set this to beta, for the first one here, we're going to set this to beta 53 alt. Then we're going to go down, and we change the iOS base to 56. Go over to the right to 56. Move down one more time. Select slot 249. It's already selected in my case. And in my case, because I've done this before, you see that warning at the bottom that says the Cios detected in slot 249 will be overwritten. That's because I've already done this before, so we're basically just doing it again, and it's just going to overwrite it with the same thing it was before, but I'm just doing this for purposes of the video for demonstration. And so we select slot 249. Then down to the last one here, Cios revision. We want to scroll all the way to the right until we get 65535, which if you have any computer programming or anything experience, you might recognize this as the maximum for an 8-byte integer, I think? Yeah, it's an 8-bit integer. So we want this revision number to be the highest it can possibly be. This fourth thing here is optional, but it is used by the Wii system when checking updates, and setting this to the highest possible value prevents the Wii from overwriting it during an update. There will most likely never be another update for the Wii, another system update, since the last one was in 2010. Seems extremely unlikely, but just in case, you never know. May as well just do that as well. So once we've done that, we hit A to continue, and then we end up on this screen here. So this crazy looking screen here shows all of the slots available in the Wii system for these iOS installs. And the one that we're about to install is slot 249. You'll see that it's blinking there, because that's the one that we're about to install it in. And when we're ready to go, we just hit A. And some of the other slots there you see are also highlighted red or purple, depending on what's currently installed. So yeah, so this one that's flashing 249, that's where it's going to be installed. So we just hit A to start the installation, and it will do the installation. This goes relatively quickly. If you're doing the offline one. If you're doing the online one, it might take a little bit longer. Like I said, I wasn't able to get the download working on the online one. It just failed to download. I don't know why, again. So that's why we did the offline one. And also for just the sake of completeness for the video. So I showed you how to download those offline files. So that's what it's using here, is those WAD files that we put in the root of the SD card that we downloaded with the NUS downloader. That's what that is. So now it's done. And you'll see that the one that we've installed in 249 is highlighted in green. It's successful. So now we just hit the A button again, and we're back to the main menu. So now we're back to the configuration suite. So now we're going to configure the second one. So like I said, this isn't used for the WAD injection, but it is useful for loading backups and everything. At least I'm pretty sure it's not used for the WAD injection. It's part of the whole instructions for doing this on that soft mod guide, so we're just going to follow that because that's what I did and it worked. So we go back up to the base version here, and we go over to the right one more, and we have beta 52, D2X version 10 beta 52. That's what we want for this slot. The base, this time we're going to set it to 57 for the base instead of 56. The CIOS slot we set to 250 instead of 249. And then the revision, same as before, go all the way to the right to the max value, 65535. We hit A again, and it's showing 250 is the one that's blinking, where it's going to be installed. So we hit A, and now it does the installation just like it did the other one. So we just have to wait for this to finish now, as I have some tea. Delicious. And it's almost done. Almost there. The boring part of the video. And success! It is installed in slot 250. Okay, so we hit A, go back to the configuration screen. Now that everything's done, we just press B on the Wii Remote to exit. And that's it. Back to the homebrew channel, and we're done. We can exit back to the system menu, because we're going to take our SD card out again. So we'll just get out of the homebrew channel here. All right. And that is it for the custom iOS installation. So that's it for this video, basically. The next set of videos is going to be about how to do the actual WAD injection with your randomized ROM. So now that you've completed this step, this is the only time that you have to do all that crazy looking stuff there. Now that we've got those installed, we don't have to worry about that again. So if you are generating new seeds for future races and whatnot, all you have to do is the actual WAD injection part, which is going to be coming up in the next set of videos here. All the other stuff that we've done with installing the homebrew channel and these hacked OSs is a one-time only affair. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next set of videos for the WAD injection part.